Hey there. So, have you ever wondered what sets apart highly effective people from the rest of us? Well, let me tell you about this book I stumbled upon called The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey. It's like a roadmap to success that was first published back in 1989. Crazy, right? But what's even crazier is how it's still making waves today. Let me ask you something. How's your journey to success going? Are you on track, cruising smoothly, or maybe feeling a bit lost in the wilderness of life? Don't worry, we've all been there. See, what Covey talks about in his book is this idea that success isn't just about luck or innate talent. It's about the habits we cultivate day in and day out. Here's the kicker. Often, we're not even aware of our bad habits. They sneakily hold us back, delaying our success without us even realizing it. It's like trying to sprint with weights tied to your ankles. You might move, but you're not going anywhere fast. But hey, here's the good news. Recognizing these habits is the first step to breaking free from them. Covey outlines 7 powerful habits that, when practiced consistently, can transform your life. It's all about taking ownership, prioritizing what matters, and continually improving yourself. Now, I won't sugarcoat it for you. Success isn't a walk in the park. It takes time, dedication, and a whole lot of hustle. So, if you're serious about leveling up your game, there's no reason to skip out on learning from the wisdom of Covey's book. Trust me, it's worth the investment. So, grab a cup of coffee, settle in, and let's dive into the world of highly effective people together. Who knows? This might just be the nudge you need to kickstart your journey to success. Habit number 1, be proactive. Being proactive is like taking the steering wheel of your life and saying, I got this. Imagine. You're at work and suddenly your boss drops this huge project on your desk like,
we need this done ASAP.
Instead of freaking out or waiting for someone else to swoop in and save the day, being proactive is all about taking charge. You break down the project, make a game plan, and get to work. It's like you're the hero of your own work saga. And speaking of heroes, let me tell you about my buddy Michael Jordan. He was stuck in a job that was draining the life out of him. But instead of just complaining about it, or waiting for some miracle to happen, Mike took action. He updated his resume, started networking like crazy, and even took some online courses to boost his skills. It wasn't easy, but his proactive attitude eventually landed him a job that he's passionate about. Here's how he described it. I'm MJ, and yes, I was just so tired of feeling stuck, you know? The same thing I go through every day. Like, I need to grow professionally, I am bored, and I need to become happy again. So, I realized I had to do something about it, so I started applying for new jobs, reaching out to people in my industry, and just putting myself out there. It was nerve-wracking at first, but I knew I had to take control of my own destiny. And you know what? It paid off. Now I wake up excited to go to work every day, and I feel like I'm actually making a difference. All right, let's switch gears a bit. Imagine you're trying to get healthier, but you keep making excuses and putting it off. Being proactive means taking ownership of your health journey. You start meal prepping, hitting the gym regularly, and maybe even hiring a personal trainer. You're not waiting for the perfect moment to start. You're taking action now to create the healthier lifestyle you want. So, whether it's at work, in your personal life, or on your journey to self-improvement, being proactive is all about taking the reins and steering your life in the direction you want it to go. It's about being the hero of your own story. Habit number 2. Begin with the end in mind. It's like having a GPS for your life, knowing where you want to go before you even start the journey. Imagine this. You're planning a cross-country road trip. Before you hit the road, you need to know your destination, right? Same goes for life. Instead of just drifting along and seeing where the wind takes you, beginning with the end in mind means having a clear vision of your ultimate goal. So, let's say you're thinking about your career. Instead of bouncing from job to job without a plan, you pause and ask yourself, where do I want to be in 5 years? Maybe you see yourself in a leadership role, running your own business, or making a difference in your community. By having that end goal in mind, every decision you make becomes a step toward making that vision a reality. Now let me tell you about my friend James Hardy. He always knew he wanted to travel. He travels a lot. Travel the world and experience different cultures. So he started saving up money, researching destinations, and making a list of all the places he wanted to visit. Here's what he had to say about it. Hi, my name's James. Man, I've always had this dream of seeing the world and immersing myself in different cultures. So I decided to start saving up and planning my adventures. It wasn't easy, and there were definitely times when I doubted whether I could make it happen. But having that end goal in mind kept me going. And you know what? Last year, I finally took the plunge and went on a couple solo trips to Southeast Asia. It was life-changing, and I wouldn't have done it if I hadn't started with the end in mind. Imagine you're thinking about your personal life. Maybe you envision yourself surrounded by loving relationships, living a healthy lifestyle, or pursuing your passions. Beginning with the end in mind means making choices that align with those long-term goals. It's like planting seeds today for the future you want to harvest tomorrow. Beginning with the end in mind is all about setting your sights on the destination and then charting the course to get there. It's like having a compass that guides you toward your dreams. Habit number 3, put first things first. Putting first things first is all about prioritizing what really matters and managing your time wisely. Imagine, you've got a to-do list a mile long and you're feeling overwhelmed by all the tasks staring back at you. Instead of diving in randomly and hoping for the best, putting first things first means identifying the most important tasks, the ones that align with your goals and values. Let's say you're a student with a big exam coming up. Instead of getting sidetracked by Netflix marathons or social media scrolling, putting first things first means carving out dedicated study time and focusing on mastering the material. You're not just busy, you're productive, making every minute count toward your academic success. My friend Elon, I wish he was the real deal Tesla guy who owns X. Anyway, he's a great guy nevertheless. Now my friend here, Elon, he's a real go-getter, always juggling multiple projects and responsibilities. But instead of spreading himself thin and trying to do it all at once, Elon is a master at putting first things first. Let's hear it from him. I'm Elon and I got something valuable to share with you. Years ago, I used to be all over the place, trying to do everything at once, like a computer. Man, I really thought it would make me more excellent and accomplished, but I ended up feeling stressed and burnt out. Then one time I came across a book and read about this whole put first things first concept, and it was like a light bulb moment for me. It was phenomenal. Now, what I do is to make a list of my top priorities each day before I start the week and tackle them one by one. It looks like an additional work, but it's really amazing how much more productive and focused I am when I'm intentional about where I put my time and energy. Imagine you're trying to improve your health and fitness. Putting first things first means making exercise and healthy eating a priority, even when life gets hectic. You schedule regular workouts, plan nutritious meals ahead of time, and make self-care a non-negotiable part of your routine. You're not just talking about getting healthy, you're taking action and making it happen. Putting first things first is all about focusing on what truly matters and taking intentional steps to make it happen. It's like clearing away the clutter to make room for the things that bring you closer to your dreams. Habit number 4, think win-win. Seek mutually beneficial solutions and foster cooperation instead of competition. Imagine you're negotiating a deal with a client and both parties have different needs and interests. Instead of trying to come out on top at the expense of the other, thinking win-win means finding a solution that satisfies everyone involved. It's about looking for opportunities to create value and build positive relationships. So, let's say you're working on a group project at school or at work. Instead of vying for control or trying to outshine your teammates, thinking win-win means collaborating effectively, valuing everyone's input, and working toward a common goal. You're not just focused on your own success, but you're invested in the success of the group as a whole. Now, my friend here, Mark Cuban, has spent years in the real estate business, and he's always been a firm believer in the win-win approach. Here's what he had to say about it.
Yeah, so my name's Mark, and I work as a real estate broker. So in real estate, there's this misconception that it's always a cutthroat, dog-eat-dog kind of industry. But I've found that taking a win-win approach not only leads to better outcomes for my clients, but also helps me build long-lasting relationships. I remember this one time I had a client who was selling their house, and the buyer was being really difficult with negotiations. At some point it was a bit frustrating, but instead of getting into a battle of wills, I sat down with both parties and helped them see each other's perspectives. And we ended up finding a compromise that worked for everyone, and both parties walked away happy. I guess, after all, it's all about finding solutions that benefit everyone involved.
Let's imagine you're in a disagreement with a friend or family member. Thinking win-win means approaching the situation with empathy, listening to the other person's point of view, and finding a resolution that honors both sides. It's not about winning the argument. It's about preserving the relationship and finding common ground. So, whether it's in business negotiations, group projects, or personal relationships, thinking win-win is all about fostering cooperation, building trust, and creating positive outcomes for everyone involved. It's like recognizing that we're all in this together and finding ways to lift each other up. Habit number 5, seek first to understand, then to be understood. This one's all about the power of empathy and active listening. Imagine this. You're in a heated argument with a friend or a colleague, and both of you are just talking over each other, trying to get your point across. Instead of escalating the conflict, seeking first to understand means pausing and really listening to the other person's perspective. It's about putting yourself in their shoes and trying to see the situation from their point of view. Say you're having a disagreement with a coworker about how to approach a project. It happens a lot, but instead of immediately jumping in with your own ideas and trying to convince them that you're right, seeking first to understand means asking questions, listening actively, and trying to uncover the underlying concerns or motivations behind their perspective. Remember to always listen first for you to be heard. You're not just focused on getting your own way. You're genuinely interested in finding a solution that works for both of you. Now, let me tell you about my friend Will, not the one who slapped the life out of Chris Rock during that fateful night. Well, my friend's a therapist. He doesn't slap, but he's a master at seeking first to understand. How he does it? Let's hear about it.
Hey, I'm Will. So in my line of work, listening is everything. I've learned that people don't just want advice or solutions, they want to feel heard and understood. I remember this one client who was really struggling with anxiety, and they just needed someone to listen without judgment. So instead of jumping in with all my expert advice, I just sat there and listened. And you know what? Just having someone validate their feelings and really understand where they were coming from made a world of difference for them.
Seeking first to understand means putting aside your own ego and really trying to see things from their perspective. It's about fostering empathy and building stronger, more meaningful relationships. Habit number 6, Synergize. This one's all about the magic that happens when people work together and create something greater than the sum of their parts. Imagine this. You're part of a team working on a project, and each member brings their own unique skills and perspectives to the table. Instead of just working in silos or competing against each other, synergizing means combining your strengths, collaborating effectively, and producing results that none of you could have achieved alone. Let's say you're organizing a community event, like a fundraiser or a volunteer project. Instead of trying to do everything yourself or micromanaging every detail, synergizing means rallying a team of volunteers, delegating tasks based on each person's strengths, and working together toward a common goal. You're not just dividing the workload, you're multiplying the impact by harnessing the collective power of your team. Now let me tell you about my friend Alex. He's a musician, and he's all about synergizing with other artists to create something truly special. Here's what he had to say about it. Hey, Alex here. So in the music world, collaboration is everything. I've found that some of my best work has come from synergizing with other musicians, producers, and artists. One time I was working on a song and it just wasn't clicking. But then I reached out to a friend who's an amazing guitarist, and he added this killer riff that took the song to a whole new level. It's like we were able to tap into each other's creativity and create something that neither of us could have done on our own. Synergizing means bouncing ideas off each other, building on each other's strengths, and coming up with innovative solutions that none of you could have thought of individually. It's about embracing diversity, fostering creativity, and achieving greater success together than you ever could alone. Habit 7, Sharpen the Saw. This one's all about taking care of yourself and investing in your personal growth and well-being. Let's say you're chopping wood with a dull saw, and no matter how hard you work, you're not making much progress. Instead of just powering through and burning yourself out, sharpening the saw means taking a step back, honing your skills, and replenishing your energy so you can come back stronger and more effective. Imagine you're a busy professional with a hectic schedule. Instead of working yourself into the ground and neglecting your physical and mental health, sharpening the saw means prioritizing self-care. You make time for exercise, meditation, hobbies, and spending quality time with loved ones. You're not just focused on achieving external success, you're nurturing your inner well-being to sustain long-term success and happiness. Let me tell you about my friend Benjamin. He's a true believer in the power of sharpening the saw, and here's what he had to say about it.
Hi, I'm Ben. So, I used to be all about the hustle and grind, thinking that working harder was the key to success. I was like that for years, if not a decade. But then I realized that if I didn't take care of myself, I wouldn't be able to perform at my best. I may be grinding really hard, but it's taking a toll on my body. So I started prioritizing self-care and personal development. I started reading more books, personal development and self-help books, of course. I also started attending workshops and taking up new hobbies. And you know what? Not only did I feel happier and more fulfilled, but I also noticed a significant improvement in my productivity and performance at work.
Sharpening the saw is all about investing in yourself so you can show up as the best version of yourself in every aspect of your life. It's like giving yourself regular tune-ups to keep your engine running smoothly for the long haul. All right, so that's the rundown on the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey. It's a game changer, right? Covey really breaks down these timeless principles that can seriously transform your life, both personally and professionally. Just think about it. Being proactive, starting with the end in mind, putting first things first, thinking win-win, seeking first to understand, synergizing, and sharpening the saw. Each habit builds on the others, creating this powerful framework for achieving your goals and living a more balanced, fulfilling life. So, if you haven't read it yet, definitely give it a go. It's one of those books that you'll want to revisit time and time again, picking up new insights each time. Plus, it's not just about reading it, it's about really implementing these habits into your daily life. Trust me, you'll start seeing the difference. And hey, if you ever want to chat more about the book or how to apply these habits, you know where to find me. Let's keep each other accountable and keep striving to be our best selves. Cheers to our journey towards greater effectiveness.